My name is Audrey and I'll be showing you my Making Patterns lesson plan. We will be making turkey patterns just because it's the season, and this is kindergarten math. So it's a festive fall decoration you can put in our classroom after they complete it. The learning objectives include being able to create and identify simple color patterns. They should be able to easily recognize and repeat the patterns when tested on it. And this is important because students will continue to use patterns in mathematics and other aspects of life throughout their collegiate or occupational lives. They will use patterns efficiently to problem solve. They can use patterns to predict outcomes in their line of work, or they could use patterns in upper level math like we would use. As far as materials, just need a styrofoam ball or apples, long toothpicks, wooden dowels, colored beads, and string. And then they will be making a fun craft made up of patterns. We'll go over the definition of a pattern and give examples of patterns, such as patterns they might find on their shirts or on the rugs or anything along those lines, just to help them lock down the definition of pattern. And then once they identify the patterns, we're going to take the styrofoam ball, we're going to put the dowel rods in for the legs, toothpicks in the top for the feathers, and that's how they will string the beads on to make the patterns for the wings or the feathers. As far as students' prior knowledge, students should be familiar with the basic colors and be able to recognize them when given visual cues, such as what color is this? Students should effectively work, and that's my measurable kind of knowledge bit. For the other two, I put that students should effectively work in groups and communicate with manners. Students will enjoy the opportunity to be creative and hopefully learn to enjoy mathematics as well. For the state standards, I didn't list the actual number, but I did post the link in case you wanted to click and find it there. And for kindergarten mathematics, it was just look for and make use of structure. So mathematically proficient students will look closely to discern pattern or structure. They step back for an overview and shift perspective. They recognize and use properties of operations and equality. They organize and classify geometric shapes based on their attributes. They see expressions, equations, and geometric figures as a single object or being composed of several objects. So this is mainly just the pattern aspect. They're kind of at the beginning of what this standard would include. For the guided practice, this is pretty much just asking the students to think about what patterns they could make with beads, different strategies, such as orange, red, yellow, and that's how they would string their beads on. Then the students will break up into small groups and try designing a feather, and then when we come back together as a group, we can share our designs and discuss further. As far as the independent working time, as students are working, any adults or teaching assistants in the room can circulate and answer questions and assess their patterns. And it just mentioned that playing soft music can help set the mood for a productive working environment, which I think is really important for younger ages. I really liked this part. I didn't add too much to it just because I thought it was pretty good. It talks about the differentiation that you can do if you have different skill levels of kids, enrichment, to kind of take it a step further than what the classroom might include, and then the assessment. I would just ask, how do you choose which beads come next, what was your pattern, and then you can observe students' turkeys to determine whether or not they were able to create accurate patterns. And then review and closing, when we call back the students, they can share what they've done, we can ask questions on that, and then we can display it in the classroom just to kind of be a reminder. And this would be a summative assessment because we would do it at the end of the project. And then as far as context, content, and critique, for content, I put this lesson gives students a sneak peek into the world of mathematics. Knowing and understanding patterns allows us to make predictions and better understand difficult topics. For context, understanding patterns allows us to be creative. If we understand a pattern, we can then either predict what will come next or create and change into a new pattern and critique. Understanding patterns allows us to become critical consumers. Media markets to people based off hundreds of patterns. We can better understand science and the world as we know it if we recognize patterns and create new ones to follow. Thank you.